leap of faith.
This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me the most relentless.
Hello, friends, critics, and all of you non-critics out there. This is the Film Optix podcast brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network, where we discuss film, TV, and all things Hollywood related. I am your host, Christian, and I'm joined by my co-host, Devin, the man himself. And on today's episode, we're going to be getting into our What If episode, season 1, episode 1 review. And we have a few Hollywood topics, a few news topics, to say the least, to get into after we dive into our What If episode 1 review of season 1. So, we're gonna be flipping it around a little bit today, trying out a few new things and seeing how this works out. But as I mentioned before, I am joined by the man himself, Devin. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm currently living in my own What If episode.
Ooh,
the one where it's what if I moved back home? That's what happened.
Man, oh man, Devin, you always know how to crack me up. I will watch that show, honestly.
It's a nice story so far.
Yeah, I'm currently living the variant life of the Christian who moved to Nashville instead of the Christian who stayed home for now, at least. Well, I guess we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, your week's been good. You've been moving some stuff and getting that exercise in.
I got all of it now. I think
nice.
We did it over the week. We took our time. Didn't get too exerted at any point, but we got it all.
And I think that's the biggest mistake people make, is that they try to move everything out in one day.
That's what makes it easy when you have your parents 30 minutes away. They're kind of like your hotel for the meantime. It makes it a lot easier.
True. Yeah, so you don't have to sleep on an air mattress or something. Yeah. It's like it's like you're second starting over, but you're more established at the same time. But yeah, I definitely feel you on that one, man. So as I mentioned before to everyone, we are going to be getting into our What If episode 1 review here today, and then we have a few news topics for you guys, some interesting ones. It's been a while since we've actually done some news topics. I know we've been doing pumping out all these reviews, and I'm like, let's take a little bit of time to add in some news topics. So that will be happening every single week alongside of our coverage of Marvel's What If series that is streaming on Disney Plus. Episode 1, as of this recording, is streaming on Disney Plus. But I did want to thank Disney really quick for allowing us to watch the first 3 episodes to kind of get our feet in the water and get our nice little reactions out there. So thank you, Disney, for letting us do that. We are forever in your debt, as we always are. But let's get
Team Scarlet.
But Team Scarlet. Yes. Honestly, Team Scarlet. Yeah, we won't get too much into that weeds, but definitely that is a huge mess in and of itself. But before we get into our What If review, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back right after this.
Space. Time. Reality. It's more than a linear path. It's a prism of endless possibility.
Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all.
All right, and we are back with our What If episode 1 review, currently untitled because we are recording this before it actually drops on Wednesday, August.
You want to guess a title?
Captain Carter.
That's what I was going to say. That's the easy one.
Super easy. I wonder how they're actually going to name the titles. Is it going to be What If ... blah 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 was Captain Carter, or What If ... Captain Carter? I really don't know. But yes, the first episode is covering if Peggy Carter received the super soldier serum instead of Mr. Chris Evans, aka Steve Rogers. But before we get into that, wanted to go over a little bit of the synopsis and just, so people can kind of get an idea of what this show actually is. So it is created by AC Bradley, one of the writers. I believe, I want to say it's AC Bradley as well, but I wasn't really able to find a lot of writing credits for that. So I do apologize, but it does star Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher himself, Haley Atwell voicing herself as Peggy Carter, and Sebastian Stan, just to name a few. And the story is as follows: exploring pivotal moments from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and turning them on their head, leading the audience into uncharted territory and asking the question, what if?
In your best Jeffrey Wright voice.
I can never ever. I don't have that much of a deep bass voice. You have to I have to kind of force it.
He really is the perfect choice for the Watcher.
He really, really.
And I like how the Watcher is just this giant galactic being that we can't even really picture, because he's just bigger than everything. He doesn't have a facial structure or anything. He's just kind of a being.
A celestial being.
Yeah.
That if you will. Yeah, it's really weird because his job is to watch and to,
just like us. We're watchers.
To watch and to never interfere. To never ever interfere. That is very, very true. But like we said, this episode is covering Captain Carter, and I wanted to get your first thoughts about it, Devin, because I think so far, I think it's a nice little intro from what we've seen. I think this is definitely going to get people's feet wet with the water, and I think it is the type of episode that really explains what the show is all about. But I wanted to pass it over to you to give your first initial thoughts.
Yeah, I think it was the perfect first episode to go with, just this story, because it's very easy to follow and it's easy to understand what's happening. You're not throwing the audience into this crazy, insane multiverse what if situation. The story is literally just, what if Peggy Carter took the serum instead of Steve Rogers? It's that simple. So
yeah,
it's easy for the audiences to jump on board what you're going for with these type of stories. And it's a good branching off point for what they have planned moving forward.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It's very easily digestible, and giving people a first episode with one of the more popular characters that people kind of understand. And it's hey, Steve Rogers. Yeah, we know the story, but it definitely does tell the story within in an interesting standpoint. You kind of see we have that Twilight Zone-esque feeling with, the Watcher kind of sets the story for everything, and then they kind of go into it. And, it is a different animation style for sure. I'm sure we'll touch into that as well. But I really like how they kind of just go for it. It's more of just, it's like this Elseworld story, and all of this is canon.
Yeah, I was going to say, keep in mind that this is all canon. The creator said the multiverse is here and people need to be ready for it.
I'm so excited. And I really like how they are kind of in a way, some of the episodes that we've seen, especially the first one, is more of just a retelling of Captain America, aka Captain Britain or Captain Carter, however you want to say it. And then, the other ones that we've seen, just more so some go a little bit deeper than others, but I will say with the runtimes for a lot of these new shows, they hover around the 30 to 33 runtime mark. And honestly,
I love that runtime for this type of series.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. I saw, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter kind of just they seemed a little bit more worried because it's not 40 minutes, it's not 45 minutes to an hour. It's well, no, not every show needs to be 45 minutes to an hour. You can tell a really good story within 30 33 minutes. We see it week to week with Ted Lasso and Apple TV Plus, and they make every single second, every single minute count. And I really think I'm glad these aren't 24-minute episodes. I'm glad they are 30-minute episodes, because it really does it gives you more time to spend with these characters. These aren't just like little animated cartoon shorts where, the animation looks amazing, but you kind of want a little bit more. Like they really go for it. They touch on heavy themes within the first episode with Captain Carter, with her being a girl and whatnot. And it kind of just fits so well together. And the animation style is very it's different for sure, but I think it's welcoming. It's something.
It definitely grew on me as it went on.
Yeah, because like when
it does a really good job of like setting up the action, because the action is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the action scenes and the everything going on with Captain Carter just destroying everybody. I loved it.
Yeah, and especially in the action scenes, like everything, it doesn't feel like weird. It doesn't feel choppy. It everything just flows so well together.
It is very smooth,
very very smooth, and it's like this 2D / like 3D hybrid in a way. Because I've said this for years, and like on multiple of my animated reviews over on Music City Drive-In and over on In Session Film, that like when it comes to comic book movies or just storytelling, like I really feel like, as much as we enjoy like the live action, I feel like these stories really thrive in animation, because there's so much more like designs and crazy wacky things you can do. And it's almost as if the sky's the limit. Of course, you have a budget for sure, but it just feels like they really, these stories like live and breathe and can really like stretch their muscles when it comes to animation, because, that's a lot of with comics, like animated in a way, with drawings and whatnot, but it just seems fitting. But I really, really enjoyed this episode with, Steve Rogers, and how they kind of show what happened where, Steve Rogers was supposed to come through and take this soldier serum, and then, the attack with Hydra and everything kind of happened. And then, Haley Atwell, who played, Peggy Carter, she comes through, and it's really great how they, and I'm sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I really like how not every single character is voiced by their, I guess, MCU counterparts. Some are, some aren't. And I can understand why, but I wanted to kind of get your thoughts about that. Like, do you think it would have been better if, they would have gotten like the original gang, or do you think it's just more of, with Iron Man and especially with Steve Rogers, like they're clearly not voiced by Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. because their contracts are over. But
this is the best they could have done. I feel like they weren't able to get everybody, but they got like the majority of at least the not the major characters. I mean, it is weird hearing that Steve Rogers, not my Steve Rogers, but
I think he did a really good job.
I got most of them, which is good. Better than not getting any. That would have been really bad.
Yeah, and like even just like a nice surprise little cameo here or there, and
like Chadwick.
Yeah,
I'm actually having Chadwick is huge.
Yeah, and since we're not into like actual spoilers, kind of like we can, talk about this from the episodes we've seen.
It's known that he's in the series.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and just from the other ones that we've seen, it's there are voice actors that pop up, and it's like, oh yeah, like so-so's in it, and you can actually, even when you're paying attention from episode 1, it is more of just it's during the beginning you can kind of see who the voice actors are, and I was like, oh, like Sebastian Stan's in it, that's really really cool. But I really like how I guess well, actually, before I get into that, let me backtrack here for a second. Anything else you wanted to bring up, like initial reaction wise, before we get into spoilers?
I don't think I had anything.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that is your first spoiler warning again. This is your second spoiler warning for Marvel's What If Episode 1. We're guessing or dubbing this as Captain Carter because I don't know what else they would call it. We'll find out when you guys will find out in the title of the actual podcast episode, because by the time it's out, I'm sure we'll have a title for that. But
yeah, they almost got us there. I thought Steve died.
I thought he did too. Definitely thought he did. And you know what? I would have been okay
just
with
like
it.
Howard Stark said, that thing's indestructible. The Hydra Buster.
Well, he was kind of like iffy about it there for a second. I was like, is it not? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I really love how he comes back, and look, there's a lot of things that they change, but there are some things that kind of stay the same with, the love connection between Peggy and Steve Rogers. It's still there. It's just the roles is a little bit reversed. Little, I guess you could say odd, little scrawny kid from Brooklyn, like falling in love with this now like super soldier, like Amazon goddess of a woman who's like 10 times like taller than him. She's definitely like hitting like 7-8 feet.
I want to see her versus Wonder Woman.
That would actually be really, really awesome. But I don't know, like I don't know what it is. Like, I mean, I've always liked Steve Rogers. I like Captain America. He's just not my favorite, but man, oh man, when the Brits come in, they know how to do it right. She just came through and just cutting them up like carved cake or whatever.
I love that scene where she just flips the two cars over. That was so cool.
Yeah. And she's finally like getting the hold of her powers. And she's like, wow, that was really awesome. And, she kind of goes through to see what else that she can kind of, that she's able to, I guess, discover about her new abilities. And we get a little bit of the Red Skull in this as well. Like I thought it told a more abridged version of what happened, but of a more what if standpoint. But I thought they did pretty good for, I think it was around like 31 minutes, I believe, for episode 1. So I thought that was pretty good for sure. But and then we also had the the general who was kind of, I guess you can he was like doing like the misogynistic like remarks towards Peggy, and then he kind of sees what she can do, and then he like really, really just like changes his tone like throughout. So you can kind of see that, and I kind of like how that is there because especially back then during World War II, it's like unfortunately women really weren't seen as much of soldiers back then, and I kind of like how they touched on that a little bit. They didn't go super deep into it, but yeah, sorry, I've been rambling here for a while. Looks like you're about to say something.
Not specifically. I do like we found out that they're gonna have Captain Carter kind of be like the central character throughout the What If series. Mm-hmm. That they're gonna bring her back reoccurring, just kind of have like a grounded character that we can tie the whole series back to, because it is a lot going on with the multiverse. Mm. So it's nice to have her as kind of like, okay, we know who this is. This is the safe zone where we know what's going on.
Yeah. And I believe not episode 1, but season 1 of What If, I believe was 10 episodes, but got cut down to 9 due to COVID.
It's actually, I heard it's kind of a crazy story. They had an episode revolving around the Guardians, but they had to cut it because it was too similar to James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 story.
Really?
Like, what does that say about his Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that it's so crazy it's a what if story? Like,
yeah, that oh my gosh, that's actually pretty awesome. Like I like that, how they're like, no, we can't do this, and
like that is insane if that's true, like that's insane.
If so, that would be hilarious. It's like
his storyline is so out of this world that it could be a what if story.
Yeah. And I'm really interested to see what Thor Love and Thunder is going to throw our way as well, because apparently the script is like out of this world from what we've seen. But that is really funny. I saw online because I wasn't sure how many episodes this was going to be, but I was like, okay, like 9 episodes. Honestly, that's okay. Like, especially like if they keep, telling us the stories that we've seen, especially from what we've seen from episodes 1 through 3, like I'm definitely on board, but especially, with episode 1, since that's the one we're really talking about today, it has been, it has been a wild ride. Like I love this like whole Twilight kind of just, it can be ominous, and it's just, it just gives you a different look certain characters. You know, some certain characters still have the same personalities,
especially for episode 2, because there's a very big character who is very different.
Yes,
that's all we'll say.
Yes, very, very different.
But it is very cool to see.
Yes. I do agree there for sure. You know, we won't say anything else about, you know, episode 2. That was just, you know, what the social embargo was up for, you know, I guess first impression. So that is something I feel like we can kind of just, gloss over. But definitely, man. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on for episode 1 for Captain Carter before we get into our scores for it?
I just love how badass she is.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Kicking Hydra ass left and right.
I was like, okay, like she was like just going for it. Like I said, the animation, it really, really grows on you, and it's daring. It's just more of, you know, Marvel just working their magic. Like you see that budget, and it's definitely reflecting in their shows for sure. But let's get into our scores here for episode 1 for Captain Carter. So I'm going to give this one just like a solid a B, just overall. Like we said, you know, I think this is a nice intro into the entire series, and, you know, moving forward, there's definitely more interesting stories out there that, you know, that they are planning to show, but I would definitely give it a solid B. You know, I think the runtime, like I said, is perfect the way it is, you know, like maybe no more than like 35 minutes if they really wanted to go a little bit longer. But I also read that like some of them could push 40. So, I mean, if they want to go longer, that's cool. But from what we've seen so far, I believe episode 1's 31 minutes, episode 2 is 33, and episode 3 is 32. I think, from what I've seen on Twitter and from what, you know, we've seen on our end, from, you know, from everything that we've received, like screener wise. So, that much we can pretty much tell you, but definitely stick around because, you know, it is like more of a lukewarm, like perfect introduction, but it definitely gets pretty interesting moving forward for sure. Just the stories that they've been telling have been phenomenal, and a few tearjerkers here and there. But yeah, I give this one a solid B overall. What about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was going to go with like an 86. That's the perfect starting jumping off point for this series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of a safer story to go with, but it makes sense for them to have that as the premiere, just kind of ease the audience into it.
Yeah, especially with oh my God. Sorry about that. Yeah, especially just, you know, with Captain Carter, just her being her, you know, it's really great stuff. So yeah, that
really
pretty much
really good name too. Really rolls. Captain Carter.
Captain Carter.
Captain Carter. Spotty.
Spotty. Captain Carter at your service. Absolutely. So yeah, let's move on to our new segment here. We'll be back with you guys right after this short break. All right, and we are back on our second segment of this show, the news segments. Man, oh man, Devin. Just got off of our Marvel's What If review, and I gotta say, it's hitting home 100%. And
another hit, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely another hit. So it's more of just, you know, this retelling these stories and putting their like own twists. And it's not just as simple as, oh, what if blah 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 was X, Y, and Z. Like, you know, it's that and more. And that kind of goes into our first news topic here, which is more of the episode counts that we kind of, you know, talked about already. But it looks like they might be moving forward with season 2. But, you know, since like I kind of mentioned before, you know, it was supposed to consist of 10 episodes, and it got knocked down to 9 because of the COVID pandemic that struck Hollywood, which is a little odd. I wonder how, when it comes to these animated stories, how they tell them, you know what I mean? Because it's like, because you can record in like, recording booth or like at home, but I guess it's more so on the animation side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Reaching those deadlines for the animation.
Yeah. Yeah. And it looks like Brad Wenderbaum, this is from Collider. They spoke to confirm the original plan did call for 10 episodes, like I mentioned before, and they had to kind of knock it down to 9. And he actually states that we had to push an episode into season 2. So there will be a season 2. And he also states that it was just honestly like everything else that that COVID impacted. There was an episode they just couldn't hit with a completion date, but luckily we do get to see it in a second season of the show, said Winderbaum, who added that season 2 will also be 9, therefore confirming the episode total as 18. So there will be a season 2, which is really, really awesome. And he also, they say that they're talking about how, each story has its own rhythm, its own pace. And we've seen that with the first 3 episodes that we've received, thanks to Disney. And there's no official mandate on regarding runtime, which is really, really awesome. But like we kind of mentioned that in our review, we feel like around the 30-minute mark should give enough time, maybe a little bit more if they overflow there. And this apparently gave the writers and animators a little bit more creative freedom. So, and it looks like they have a target for a half an hour each episode, which is really, really great. I really, really like that. This kind of just gives us a little bit more information going off of the coverage that we just did for episode 1. So moving forward, at least expect at least a 30-minute runtime, if not more, which is really, really awesome. So anything else you wanted to touch on that before we move on?
Yeah, I'm all in. I like what they're doing. Good start.
All right. You want to take
this next one? It's pretty interesting. Do you remember Chronicle back in the day?
I do. I actually just rewatched it earlier this year.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I remember liking it when it came out. I think we all saw it and it was entertaining at least. It's, I don't know how it holds up. Haven't seen it since. I'm sure you can give some insight into that.
I definitely think it does, because it is Chronicle has always been one of those like original like stories that just it does ground itself in the real world. Like,
it's a great cast too.
Oh yeah. Great cast. But sorry, Devin, go ahead.
But yeah, we got a sequel coming. Apparently Chronicle 2 is in the works.
Ooh, do we
definitely
really?
Definitely took a while, but
man, oh, man.
Yeah, there's going to be a Chronicle 2 centering around a female point of view this time.
I like that. We kind of get the, like, with the first group of friends for Chronicle, like there was the one boy who stood out, and that came out 2012. So it was, a few years. Well, actually, it's been a while, but man, oh man, it looks like we have a little bit of a quote here. Producer John Davis said that they're working on Chronicle 2 right now, and and he says, I think it's going to be great. We're working on it at a Fox 20th Century Studios, so it will be underneath the House of Mouse. But he also states that it's going to give us a chance to tell the story in a different way. We're going to tell it from the female point of view, and we will have it will have a 10-year gap between the events that happened in Seattle in 2012, and a lot's going on to deal with fake news and real news and cover-ups. More interestingly, it's the next generation getting these powers that are corruptive. These are young women just finishing college. They are empowering, and this is their journey. I mean, what a new and interesting story. Okay, so he says, I mean, what a new and interesting story you can tell from there. So that sounds amazing. John Davis being the producer on that, and I think that's I think it's great. It sounds fantastic, and honestly, just bring it on. Just give it to us, like 100%.
Yeah, let's keep that found footage train going.
Yeah, absolutely. So, excuse me. In other news, we have Florence Pugh, the lady herself,
always in the news.
Always in the news. She's always making moves, Devin. It is fan-freaking-tastic. She's reportedly in the talks with Showtime's new series, 3 Women, which is pretty interesting. This comes from the Illuminati. Yes, you heard me right. The Illuminati. It looks like they're interested in Florence Pugh. So it looks like, man, oh man, in 2019, there was a book called The Three Women by Lisa Taddeo was released and skyrocketed to the top of the New York Times nonfiction's bestseller list. And Taddeo spent 8 years spent 8 years and crossed the United States 6 times to write this book, finding 3 women to feature as her subjects, which is, sounds very, very interesting. But the book cover looks interesting. It just says 3 women, Lisa Taddeo, excuse me, when I butchered her last name again. But there's a lot of like hanging fruit on the cover there. But it looks like 3 women tells the story of 3 women who suffered backlash, private and public, for their sexual desires. The series centers on Lena, a mother living in suburban Indiana, and in a passionless marriage, who rekindles a romance with her high school sweetheart. Maggie, a student from North Dakota, who's faces intense insecurities and backlash after reporting her married English teacher of an inappropriate relationship, and Sloane, as an entrepreneur in the Northeast who has committed a open relationship with her husband that is threatened by 2 new strangers, and Gia, who is based by Taddeo herself, a writer grieving the loss of her family, who persuades these 3 women to share their stories and is forever changed by her relationship with them. Whew, man, that was a lot to get through. But
that was a whole paragraph.
That was definitely a whole paragraph, and that was your English lesson for today. So we have a few others joining her as well. So we have Shailene Woodley, and she was in oh my gosh, what was she in? Actually, no, it doesn't say. I do apologize. So we have Shailene Woodley looking at Florence Pugh as well, and as well as oh my gosh. Green Bay Packer, ex-Green Bay Packers, quarterback's wife, Aaron Rodgers' wife. I believe it's his wife. Yeah. So what do you think about this, Devin?
I mean, I don't love it being on Showtime. It's just one of the ones that nobody really has, but it is Florence Pugh, so I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah. Just another streaming service we have to sign up for, right? It's all good. But yeah, let's move on here. Devin, we have some exciting news coming from the Lord of the Rings. We finally it has resurfaced. And it's finally, we have a premiere date and a drop look at the first image of the Amazon series, Lord of the Rings. Highly anticipated, will be dropping on Amazon Video September 2nd, 2022, with new episodes dropping weekly afterwards. Filming has completed on the first season of the show on August 2nd in New Zealand, definitely going back to its roots of the original Lord of the Rings. But this is a different story. This is not the same Lord of the Rings story that was told. Little is known about the plot or series, but this is known to take place during the so-called Second Age, which happens 1,000 years prior of both the events of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And the series will follow an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long feared emergence of evil to Middle Earth. So, man, oh man, Jennifer Sakel, Salke, the head of Amazon Studios, she states that she can't express enough how excited we all are to take our global audience on a new epic journey through Middle Earth. Our talented producers, cast, creative, and production teams have worked tirelessly in New Zealand to bring this untold and uninspiring version to life. It is crazy. The budget has been insane for this. I don't believe that this thing from Variety doesn't state, but are you able to look that up really quick, Devin, to see how much the budget was? Because I believe it was quite possibly one of the highest, if the highest budgeted TV shows to date. And I thought that was like
94 million.
94. My gosh. You know what? I'm not going to lie.
Actually, no, that was the budget for Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Oh,
the budget for the series for season 1 is 465 million.
My God, 465 million. That is crazy, Devin. And you know what? I'm not going to lie.
Largest television series ever made.
Yep. And given off the first image that they gave us, I think it's well worth it. But it's crazy to think they put that much money into a TV show. Like, that is a lot of money. Like this vast landscape of, we don't know who this character is looking off into the distance in this white cloak, but it looks freaking beautiful. And I'm like, you know what?
Amazon's is sneaky good. Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah, it is. I think it is definitely one of the most underrated shows out, or not shows, but streaming services out there for sure. Like, there's so much on there. And they just keep, I think they're, they bought MGM, which is really, really interesting. And they just keep, they're just, man, they're making moves. They're making small but powerful moves. And, hopefully, September 2nd, 2022 can't come fast enough. But Devin, I'm going to let you take this next one because I know how much you love the first Venom. So I'm going to let you give your thoughts about the Venom 2 trailer if you've seen it.
I didn't mind it. I mean, you definitely see the similarities to the first one, just Venom facing off against another symbiote again. But I am intrigued because you get Tom Hardy, then you put him up against another great actor in Woody Harrelson, and you can definitely see some fun things happening there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely going to be relying on Tom Hardy carrying again.
Yeah. It definitely seems that way. With Carnage, everyone's been looking forward to it. I watched the trailer. Like, it looks fine, I guess. I wasn't really necessarily blown away, but with Woody Harrelson playing Cletus Cassidy, it doesn't really vibe with me all that much, just because just of how old Woody Harrelson is, and I feel like they could have gotten somebody else a little bit younger, but just to give it that more mobility feel. But I feel like Woody's going to be more so just in that CGI state more so than his human state. So I don't know. It is what it is, but it's coming out this year. Kind of bugs me that Sony dropped this information. We still don't have any No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home trailer information.
They didn't even give a release date for Venom 2 yet, did they?
No, it was supposed to come out in like September. That was like the date, but then in the trailer it just says this fall. It doesn't have the date.
Very strange.
Yeah, very, very strange. And everyone's thinking that it might get pushed back, or they're kind of just, playing their cards or holding their cards close to their chest, but I'm not entirely sure. It is really, really weird, but hopefully we just get some Spider-Man No Way Home trailer news, because like there's some information out there.
They're never going to drop it because they know how much we want it.
And that's fine. Just tell me. Just tell me that, hey, we've made the conscious decision that, trying to make a trailer, it's just too spoiler heavy, and let's just, keep it as is. I'm totally cool with that. But oh well, we'll just have to wait and see how that one plays out. But that pretty much wraps up our news topics for today. Again, Devin, thank you always for coming on. And we do have a few more things coming up on the podcast for you guys. If you're listening to this on a Wednesday. Go check out our The Suicide Squad review that we did with Leo on Monday. That was a lot of fun, and I think everyone should go see it because in theaters, if you can, if you're in an area where you don't have that option, definitely just watch it at home. There's no shame in that, but if you feel comfortable going to the theater, definitely go see it in theaters there. But we also have we have another double feature review coming up for you guys. They'll be dropping on Monday the 16th, I believe. Yes, Monday the 16th, we're going to be doing our Free Guy review alongside of our Don't Breathe 2 review as well. But also look out for our DC Titans episode 1 through 3 review that will be dropping actually the day after. Oh my gosh, the day after this comes out. So tomorrow, as of this recording, check out our DC Titans season 3, episode 1 through 3 review that I did with Leo Rydell over on Geekly Goods. Definitely go give him a follow over on YouTube for his channel. He makes some really great content over there, and he does not disappoint. That is definitely true there. So pretty much that's it. And we'll see you guys next time. I'm MIA for this week. Again, just for people who haven't listened to our Suicide Squad review, this is up. But currently, I'm in bed, probably just having all these crazy toothaches because I'm getting my wisdom teeth taken out. But, we do have all this great content for you guys coming up this week and the following week. So we'll see you guys in the next one. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian, and we'll see you guys next time.